Here are your Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, August 14th, 2025. After his hypnosis session and chat with Marlena, EJ now thinks that Belle could be the one who shot him, but that seems just a little too far-fetched, considering her reaction when he was in a coma. He takes someone very surprising into his confidence and tells them his theory. However, Marlena has another theory that she doesn't share with EJ. Instead, she shares it with Belle. She seems to know who shot EJ because she keeps bringing him out of hypnosis before he can see a face. However, this time he said she, and Marlena now has to testify to that thanks to EJ's subpoena. What is Marlena hiding? And what does she think really happened? Does she suspect it was Rachel? Or could the real answer lie in Marlena's soul? Perhaps Susan's theory that something is very off with Marlena is true. Could Marlena be blocking something from her own mind? Belle will be shocked by what Marlena has to say, but is it something she can use during the trial? It's another fun time in Horton Town Square, where Xander does his best to defend himself with Sarah. He did as promised and had a session with Marlena in an attempt to control his anger, but Sarah wants to know that he is going consistently. Xander tries to score points with Sarah, but she is a tough nut to crack, so this will be easier said than done. It doesn't help that Gwen constantly gets in the way every chance she gets. Gwen seems determined to win Xander back, but is she going about it the wrong way? She is forever taunting Sarah any chance she gets. She also enjoys sparring and flirting with Xander, but he has not been very receptive to it. That doesn't change on Thursday. Xander's even spending more time with Gabby than he is with Gwen, proving he is a man in demand. Welcome to the Days of Our Lives Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. When a guy makes you soup when you're sick, you might have a suitor on your hands, but does Days of Our Lives Kat Green know that? Sure, she enjoyed that chicken tortilla soup and lied to Chad about where it came from, but she might want to give Rafe a second look. Kat has been pining for Chad all year, and nothing has come of it except a kiss she thinks was a fever dream. Maybe it's time for Kat to give up on Chad and see what Rafe has to offer. He is an ISA agent just like she is. He is honest, and she hasn't been keeping secrets from him, so Kat is honest too, at least with Rafe. It's been one secret after another when it comes to Chad, and Kat knows this is going to cause trouble one day down the line. As for Rafe, he jumps from one woman to the next almost as easily as Brady does. No romance ever seems to work out for him, but he just keeps plugging away in his quest to find Ms. Right. In the last few years, Rafe has been with Ava, Nicole, and Jada, as well as having a random one-night stand with Sammy. Could Kat be the one, considering how well they get along and how much they have in common? Maybe it's time for Days of Our Lives to cut its losses with Kat and Chad and see what happens with Rafe. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full DOOL recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not. Seriously, do not. Forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is, if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. Sophia is doing her darndest to keep the truth about her baby hidden on Days of Our Lives. She's made everyone believe that her baby had been adopted, and not only has Tate wanted to connect with their child, their son is right there under his nose in Salem. As viewers know, Javi brought the little one home after the baby had been left at the fire station, and he and Leo have stepped in as his caretakers, and even named him Tesoro. While no one may be the wiser right now, those watching today's August 13th episode got their first glimpse of a secret about to unravel, as Javi's interest was piqued the second he learned that Sophia had given up her baby. During a brief moment, Ari relayed to Javi that Sophia had been down and out since giving up her child, and he'd had no idea. Later, Rafe picked up on how unsettled Javi appeared to be. Javi recalled how upon seeing Tesoro, Sophia's mom thought he looked like one of her kids as a baby, and wondered, could Tesoro be Asian? However, Javi knew for a fact that Sophia had been pregnant when he'd found the baby, but if she hadn't been, Tesoro could have been hers. Though Javi convinced himself that the timing was off, we know better. Sophia did give birth to Tesoro, but wore a pregnancy pad to fool everyone into thinking she hadn't, and it's only a matter of time before her secret comes out. The question is, who will put two and two together and uncover the truth? Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week, August 18, 2022, reveal that Johnny DiMera will face his verdict while Sophia Choi steals Tate Black's attention. Chad DiMera will also struggle with his worst fear, so let's talk about what's ahead on DOOL. For starters, Johnny's trial will come with more turmoil. After Johnny fires EJ DiMera for taking things too far, will he get another lawyer to fill in or choose to represent himself? There isn't much time left in court anyway, so Johnny may think hiring a replacement attorney is unnecessary. Of course, it's also possible EJ will convince Johnny to let him see this through to the end. Despite Johnny's anger over EJ's treatment of Chanel Dupree DiMera on the stand, he might cool off and allow EJ to continue representing him after all. Regardless, a lot could hinge on Marlena Evans' testimony regarding EJ's hypnosis since he recalled his shooter was female. EJ may ultimately blame Belle Black in front of the jury, but it's Rachel Black who Marlena may end up trying to protect. If Rachel's behind the shooting, Marlena won't want that shocking news coming to light. However, it could come out anyway depending on what Marlena testifies and what EJ might remember next. There's even a possibility that Rachel will finally unblock the worst part of that evening and realize she pulled the trigger. At some point, Kristen DiMera may try to take the fall for her daughter, but Rachel may stand against her if she remembers the truth. Johnny's trial will wrap up and could end with a not guilty verdict, but things may turn chaotic for Rachel, Kristen, and Brady Black next. Other days' spoilers say Chad will worry that maybe he's stayed in the friend zone too long. It's clear that Chad has more than platonic feelings for Kat Green, but he's concerned that she might be moving on. Kat had to make up an excuse for the soup James, aka Rafe Hernandez, left outside her door. So she told Chad an ex made it for her. Kat also claimed this ex wanted her back, and that they were seeing where things might lead. The story was a cover for Kat and Rafe's I Say FBI partnership, but Chad assumes it's true. Chad may wallow in regret about not making his move, but perhaps he could decide to be brave and make a romantic plea sooner or later. In that case, Days spoilers suggest Chad's fear of losing Kat might turn into a good thing if it motivates him to take action. As for Sophia, she'll resort to more manipulation tactics. Sophia will console Tate over a fake letter from the adoptive parents denying him access to the baby, though she'll obviously know it's from Melinda Trask instead. Days spoilers say Sophia may find herself torn between enjoying Tate's attention and fretting over how far he might push this. Sophia knows Tate is struggling to let go when it comes to his daughter in Chicago, but he has no idea he actually has a son right there in Salem. Tesoro is Tate's little boy, so it's just a matter of time until the puzzle pieces come together. For now, Sophia will continue to deceive Tate and try to pull him away from Holly Jonas. Sarah Horton Kyriakis will also wrestle with the secret she's keeping from Brady since she's in the loop on the real story. Days of Our Lives spoilers say the week of August 18, 2022 will bring some twists and turns, so stay tuned for updates on all the mayhem. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, August 14th reveal that Rachel Black will scream at Kristen DiMera, while Marlena Evans shares a shooter theory. Chanel Dupree DiMera will also be willing to make a sacrifice for Johnny DiMera. So here's what Days fans can look forward to. For starters, Chanel will decide to go down for Johnny's sake if need be. Since Chanel can't bear the thought of Johnny landing in prison, she won't have a problem with EJ DiMera making her look guilty on the stand. However, Paulina Price will have some concerns, so she may fear that Chanel could face charges next if Johnny gets exonerated. EJ remembered the shooter was a woman and plans to have Marlena Evans testify about that hypnosis revelation in court. However, Marlena's reluctance to do another session has left EJ wondering if she doesn't want him to remember more. EJ is starting to think Belle Black might be responsible, so he may open up to Gwen von Leuschner about that when they talk in Thursday's Days episode. Gwen will also have a tense encounter with Xander Kyriakis. who'll rush to his own defense in a confrontation with Sarah Horton-Kyriakis as well. Speaking of Sarah, Day's spoilers say she'll bump into Kristen and Rachel outside the pub. That could lead to Rachel wanting to hang out with Sarah, but Kristen might nix the idea and insist they should go home instead. Whatever the case, there'll be some reason for Rachel to have an angry meltdown on Thursday's DOOL show. Rachel will scream at Kristen and cause a scene, so Kristen will no doubt worry about the toll this whole trial mess is taking on her. As for EJ's hunch that Belle might have pulled the trigger, there's no reason to think he's right about that. Belle has shown no signs of guilt at all and will seem genuinely curious when she seeks updates on Marlena's shooter theory. Although Marlena can't be certain without proof, she may admit she thinks Rachel might be responsible. Rachel may be experiencing a memory block of her own when it comes to firing at EJ that night. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Marlena will face some tricky moments in court now that she's been subpoenaed, so stick with us for more trial-related news. Please note that if you purchase something by clicking on a link within the story, we may receive a small commission of the sale. Chad wakes up on Kat's couch as she emerges, refreshed, from her bedroom in a t-shirt and comfy pants. As they move to the kitchen, Kat remembers asking if she kissed him. Chad flashes back to it happening, but again calls it a crazy dream. Kat rambles about it being a fever dream, so it doesn't mean anything, but then worries she's protesting too much and is just telling him what he wants to hear. "What if I don't know what I want to hear?" Chad asks, his stare boring into her. He quickly dismisses it and starts to feel hot. Javi comes home with Tesoro as Rafe cooks their abuela's famous chicken tortilla soup for a sick friend. Javi gets a text from Leo with a 3-page list of things he needs while he's in sequestration. Ari passes through on her way to meet Sophia, who's been down since she gave her baby away. Javi is thrown to learn that she did that. After Ari leaves, Rafe detects Javi's change in demeanor and asks what's on his mind. Javi recounts how Sophia's mom thought Tesoro looked like her son when he was a baby, which makes him wonder if little T is of Asian descent. If he didn't know for a fact that Sophia was still pregnant when he was born, he'd think Tesoro might be Sophia's, but the timing doesn't work out. He knows it must have been hard for Sophia to see little T after giving up her own child. Rafe recalls how hard it was to give up David, but it was nothing compared to what Javi went through. "It seems like a lifetime ago," Javi somberly says. Rafe knows it never goes away, though. "Never," Javi confirms. In the square, a dejected Sophia watches unseen as Tate and Holly get their flirt on after a bike ride. After they head out, Ari meets Sophia to shop and eat, but Sophia is far less enthusiastic. Nothing is turning out the way she thought it would. Deducing she's talking about Tate, Ari relays that he and Holly seem to be back together, especially after Tate was Holly's hero when they were abducted. Sophia can't believe they were having this life-changing experience while she was in Chicago having his baby. Speaking of babies, Ari starts gushing about little T, leading a very uncomfortable Sophia to realize Javi is Ari's cousin. Ari tries to hype Sophia up about college and meeting new guys, but Sophia is also bummed. Her college of choice in Chicago didn't work out, and she'll be going to Salem U. Ari admits she wants to stay there for college, instead of going back to Arizona. She also got accepted to Salem U, so they could be going to school together again. That news actually does make Sophia happy, and they rush off to see if Ari's acceptance is still valid. At her place, Kat takes Chad's temperature, which is 102. She shuts down his suggestion of getting a hotel, insisting he stay there. After Chad calls Julie to delicately tell her he's staying at Kat's longer, Kat goes to make up Aaron's room for him. While she's gone, Rafe knocks on the door, but when Chad opens it, he just finds a soup container on the floor with a get-well-soon note from James, which is Rafe's working codename with Kat. As Kat and Chad eat James' soup, Chad relays that his friend Gabby's soup is exactly like this. When Chad fishes for information on James, Kat lies that he's an ex with whom she's gone out a few times to see where it leads. "I hope it works out," Chad says, but his eyes convey something else entirely. In the courthouse corridor, Marlena tells Belle she can't discuss EJ's hypnosis session. EJ emerges to waive doctor/patient confidentiality and serves her with a summons to testify. He fills Belle in on remembering that he referred to the shooter as her, which means it couldn't have been Johnny. However, he's blocked over their identity. Marlena is clearly rattled, but just says it's possible the shooter is someone EJ knows well and is therefore subconsciously protecting. After Belle leaves, Marlena thanks EJ for questioning Rachel so gently on the stand. EJ is shocked she'd think he'd attack his own niece. However, he is eager to uncover the truth and requests another hypnosis session. Marlena passes. Her testimony should be enough to create reasonable doubt in the jury. EJ suspects she doesn't want him to remember. Does she think the shooter was Samantha? Marlena doesn't and takes her leave. EJ's eyes dart and his brow furrows. No, it couldn't be Belle, he says to himself. Could it? Holly and Tate head back to the penthouse, which they have to themselves since everyone's at the trial. After they shower, separately, they meet up in his room and promptly make out. Their towels drop and they end up in bed. Belle enters the penthouse with mail and calls out to Tate that he got a package. She goes to his room and gasps in shock at the teens in bed. After dressing, Tate sheepishly heads to the living room, where his Aunt Belle cringes while trying to collect herself. After getting confirmation that they were being careful, Belle says she won't tell his grandma or father, but advises that next time, don't do that here. Belle awkwardly leaves for the kitchen, and Holly joins Tate. They giggle as they decide to choose another location for next time. Next on Days of Our Lives, Chanel proves her devotion, and Marlena's ready to share her theory. Days of Our Lives spoilers hint that Kristen DiMera may make a false shooter confession. Will Kristen lie to cover up Rachel Black's actions the night EJ DiMera nearly lost his life? In DOOL's August 12th episode, EJ had another hypnosis session with Marlena Evans. That brought a new memory to the surface, one that pointed to the culprit being a woman. EJ remembers trying to get the gun away from her, but he couldn't quite recall the female character standing in front of him. However, EJ has narrowed it down to a few logical candidates since Kristen, Gabby Hernandez, Chanel Dupree DiMera, and Ava Vitale were all at the house that night. Of course, the real answer to this mystery will be a lot more complicated. After all, it wouldn't make sense for EJ to ask any of those women to give him the gun so politely. Plus, it seems like the reason for EJ's mental block may be because he cares about the person who pulled the trigger. On some level, EJ may be trying to protect his young niece. All signs are pointing to Rachel being the one who grabbed the weapon and ultimately fired it at EJ before repressing the memory. Days spoilers suggest Marlena may reveal a Rachel-based theory to Belle Black in the coming episodes, so everything could be building to that big reveal. As for Kristen, she could make a mess of things if she gets updates on Marlena's suspicions and decides to make a bogus confession to the cops. Kristen would do anything for Rachel, so she might admit to shooting EJ when she's actually innocent. During their recent conversation at the pub, Kristen swore to Rachel that she wasn't the one who shot EJ. It was Kristen's way of easing Rachel's mind, but it also seemed like a way to set up Kristen's false admission of guilt. Days spoilers say some big twists are brewing for Rachel, who may get confused if Kristen suddenly claims she's behind the shooting after all. Kristen may want to deliver a guilty plea and head straight to prison to ensure that none of this affects Rachel. A mother's sacrifice would certainly make sense in a situation like this. Before Days can move forward with Kristen's return to the slammer, perhaps Rachel's memories regarding that night will come rushing back. Will Rachel remember what she did and end up horrified? Will Rachel insist on coming forward to save Kristen from another prison stint? Days of Our Lives spoilers say Rachel has more shockers ahead of her, so we'll fill you in on any major news related to the investigation. Marlena has a theory about EJ, Days of Our Lives. Spoilers for Thursday, August 14th. Feature Chanel so desperate that she's willing to sacrifice her life for Johnny's. This doesn't really seem to solve the problem. It only shifts it around. Things aren't looking good for Johnny. It's starting to look more and more like he might be convicted of shooting EJ. You'd think it would be relevant that, when Marlena hypnotized the victim by defense attorney, EJ recalled that his shooter was a she. EJ subpoenaed Marlena's testimony, but is it reliable now? Couldn't the doting dad have just made it up, then put on a show for Marlena so that she'd back him up? They don't really have enough evidence to free him, which is why Chanel has a suggestion. How about she confesses? This isn't much better, is it? Plus, can you imagine the Paulina hysterics about her baby if that were to happen? While Chanel lays out her brilliant idea, EJ confides his worries to Gwen. Has he made his son's situation worse? Marlena also has a theory, which she shares with Belle. It's a very interesting case, isn't it? Where both the defense and the prosecution want the alleged shooter to be found innocent. Rachel also wants Johnny to be found innocent, so she throws a fit about it. After all, she gets everything else she wants that way. Why not this, too? While Johnny defends himself in court, Xander defends himself to Sarah. He is a good father, a good person, and a good businessman. And why won't she believe that? It's not like she didn't know about his crimes before they got married. Twice, on Days of Our Lives, spoilers reveal that Ariane Zucker will never return to the Peacock soap opera. However, Holly Jonas needs her mother more than ever. Since the teenager was recently kidnapped, could Nicole Walker Brady return to Salem soon? Perhaps as a recast? Keep reading and let's discuss what could happen with this character. Let's start off by addressing Zucker's exit, which is most likely permanent. The actress said she would never come back, but due to a lawsuit, that pretty much seals that decision. However, just because Ariane won't come back doesn't mean Nicole will be gone forever. Recasts in soaps are very tricky. The longer that an actor has played a character, the more difficult they are to cast. While Nicole was a fan favorite, I think enough time has passed where a recast might be accepted by fans. However, the casting would have to be just right. Sometimes that can be tricky and complicated with soap operas, especially with fans being as die-hard and passionate as they are towards certain characters and actors. A few months ago, Eric Brady came back to Salem. At that time, it was mentioned that things weren't going well between Eric and Nicole in Paris. However, Eric wouldn't discuss what was going on. Why mention anything at all if there isn't going to be a follow-through? It seems likely that Eric and Nicole's situation could be addressed at some point in the near future. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that even Holly mentioned that she had no idea what was going on between Ericole. Then, Holly and Ari Horton were kidnapped. Even though the girls were saved by Tate Black and Rafe Hernandez, that would certainly be enough to have Nicole coming back to town. However, she has been strangely silent. Holly was even accepted at the Sorbonne, but decided to go to homely Salem University. While she claims it's because of Tate, I wonder if there is more going on behind the scenes. Nicole was always really close with her daughter, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that Holly is clueless about Eric and Nicole's marriage. Nicole has been mentioned a few times recently. That is making me wonder if she could be recast. If so, who do you think would make the right Nicole? Here's a peek at what happens next in Salem. Days of Our Lives spoilers photos. For the August 14th, 2025 episode, tease a decision that will shake things up at Johnny's trial. Now that Rachel got through testifying, Kristen brings her to the pub, where they run into Sarah. Meanwhile, it looks like Xander and Gwen have it out in the square. Also in the square are Paulina and Chanel, who, spoilers for the week tease, will decide to take the fall for Johnny.